Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on QuickBooks Payroll 101, produced by Out of the Box in partnership with Intuit. Whether you're new to QuickBooks Online Payroll or a veteran user, we're excited to have you with us to learn about the latest updates to the solution and the specific pain points it was developed to solve. Today's presenter is John Brakey, Campos of Intuit. John has been with Intuit for 15 years in varying roles, and he loves working directly with clients to understand their payroll and workforce management needs and recommend the best overall solution. John is a seasoned out-of-the-box presenter whose expertise is often tapped by our team, and we encourage you to engage with him and with any payroll questions you might have. As for me, my name is Jeanette Schwartz-Rattan. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Out of the Box, and I will be your moderator for the day. Just a few housekeeping items before we dive in. The session is being recorded to give you the opportunity to really engage and ask questions. The recording will be shared with you as a resource after the webinar, and you can revisit any key points and information you'd like to review, share it with your colleagues, or keep it for future reference. There will be time for questions at the end. However, as we go through the presentation, if you're hoping to dig a little deeper into something that John covers or need some clarification, feel free to chat those questions to us and we can address those as we move through the presentation. A little bit about Out of the Box, if you haven't joined us before, or maybe it's been a while. Here at Out of the Box, our mission is to empower entrepreneurs with the QuickBooks-based financial tools, services, and insights they need to thrive. Out of the Box is the premier choice for QuickBooks accounting services, boasting over 30 years of experience and a track record of exceeding the expectations of more than 50,000 satisfied clients. Our comprehensive accounting solutions save you time and money while providing you with the financial accuracy, security, and insights necessary to grow your business. As an elite QuickBooks solution provider, we are able to offer you exclusive discounts and pricing, so please be sure to reach out and connect with us before purchasing your QuickBooks solutions. With that, I believe I've covered all of our housekeeping items, so I am going to go ahead and hand things off to John so he can get started. John, it's all yours.
Thank you very much for that warm introduction, Jeanette. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. And let me go into presentation mode. And Jeanette, can you go ahead and confirm that you can see my screen?
Yep, you got it.
All right, great. Well, thank you again for having me. For everybody on this call, thanks for being here today. As Jeanette mentioned, my name is John Brakey Campos. I'm a senior payroll partner development manager here with Intuit, and I work with Out of the Box. They're actually one of my preferred partners. And today we're going to be covering QuickBooks Online Payroll 101. And here's our agenda for today. Really a little bit of an intro, benefits of QuickBooks Online Payroll. Want to kind of go over the problems that QuickBooks Online Payroll solves. We'll go into some of the basics in terms of cost of QuickBooks Online Payroll. What does each plan include? And we'll also dig into what other services can connect to QuickBooks Online Payroll. And time permitting, I'll also make sure that we go through a quick demo just to show you guys a quick overview of our offering. And a little bit about me. So I currently support the QuickBooks Solution Provider Partner Channel, helping our partners such as Out of the Box keep payroll top of mind, also known as a payroll evangelist. I've been with Intuit for 15 years in multiple roles, supporting small to medium-sized businesses, accounting professionals, and resale partners throughout my tenure here at Intuit. Let's get right into it. I love to start with this slide specifically around client benefits. What's in it, of course, for you as clients. Let's start with why Intuit. What are the benefits of using us over the many other payroll providers out there, right? Since there's a ton of other providers out there that you guys can, of course, choose from. For starters, we have complete integration with accounting and payroll, meaning there's no double entry of data. My accounting and my payroll are one in the same solution that I'm actually doing all my accounting in. I can conduct my payroll through as well. We offer auto payroll with all levels of QuickBooks Online Payroll. We also include embedded time management with our higher payroll SKUs, Premium and Elite, which I'll go over briefly. And Intuit, we are the nation's largest small business payroll provider with over 1.5 million payroll customers and growing. And with our reimagination or our reinvention of our payroll offerings from a few years ago, we're ultimately looking to become that one-stop shop with our addition to 401k, health benefits, and HR. Going over a quick overview, our online payroll, again, has drastically changed over the last few years. We've really evolved from a basic payroll to beyond just payroll and evolving more into offering a full suite of workforce solutions, which we'll go over throughout this presentation. Throughout this webinar, we're going to go over different payroll offerings, along with what other features can help go beyond just creating paychecks. Let's talk about the advantages of using QuickBooks Online Payroll. Well, for starters, one unified platform for seamless business management and reporting at your fingertips. Experts can review your payroll setup with our premium and our elite payroll offerings, or provide expert setup with elite payroll. Not only do small business owners have the ability to pay W-2 employees, but through our payroll offerings, you can also actually pay 1099 subcontractors via direct deposit for faster money movement. Our payroll lineup includes automated payroll, tax payments and filings for federal and state agencies, and our higher SKU, Premium and Elite, will actually also include payroll tax payments and filings for local agencies. As you may know, there's about 11 to 12 states that assess local taxes in the US. So our higher offerings will definitely include not only support for federal and state, but also local, really giving you the ability to focus on running your business and really what matters most. What's the end result? A fully integrated payroll solution that eliminates the need to manually enter payroll into your accounting solution. And you, of course, in turn, get greater detail on the overall health of your business in real time. Let's talk about our time management solution. Our premium and our elite payroll offerings include time tracking at no additional cost. Small to medium-sized businesses have many different ways of tracking time for your workforce, whether it's you using a smartphone, a tablet, or on a PC. You can also have GPS points if you have a mobile workforce, right, where I can get those breadcrumbs as my employees are clocking in and clocking out, kind of where their actually routes are taking them. I can see exactly where individuals are at, whether I need to dispatch or maybe reallocate somebody due to a specific emergency or a on-call for a job. I can go ahead and look at where my workforce is, my mobile workforce, and make changes, pivot accordingly. I also have the ability to implement geofencing through our elite payroll. If I maybe do job costing or projects, right? I'm in construction, for example, and I want to be able to pinpoint and create a boundary for each of the projects that I have. That allows me to geofence so that when my employees get within a certain distance of that project, their mobile phone can actually send them a push notification to remind them to clock in and clock out of the job that they're about to actually work on. Through our time management, you can also, of course, track time for both hourly employees, in addition to salaried employees that may need to keep track of billable time or for job profitability purposes. Not only is it a time management solution, but the ability to schedule and manage time off for my employees can also be done by using QuickBooks Time. What is the end result? Well, users actually report an average savings of 4% on their payroll costs. Why? Well, there's no more manual entry of time. The payroll process is significantly reduced, and I, in turn, get much better insights on one of my biggest expenses, payroll. Now let's dig a little bit deeper into our HR partner, Mineral HR. As we all know, the pandemic has really changed things drastically for employers. SMBs, small to medium-sized businesses, are realizing the importance of HR and creating structure within their business. Through HR can really help employers stay in compliance with labor laws, assist with the creation of employee handbooks, listing policies and procedures, which in turn is a benefit to both you as an employer and your employees, right? The power of an employee handbook, for me as an employer, heaven forbid there's any sort of a dispute or whatnot, I've got something to fall back on, right? That's in writing, that's been presented to my my potential or my employees. But as an employee, I also have the ability from an onboarding standpoint to know through that employee handbook what policies and procedures I should abide by, what type of benefits I actually get, what are expectations that the employer has of me as an employee, right? So it's really twofold, and there's of course huge importance as to why employee handbooks are definitely important to keep handy, if you will. And then depending on the level of payroll chosen, you'll either get access to the technology component with an HR resource center, giving you access to forms, templates, custom job descriptions, or you can combine the service element, which will include phone and chat support directly with our HR pros. So really contingent upon the different version of payroll that you actually go with, that will then of course determine what type of level of service you'll get through our HR platform. And one big thing, the content has been curated and validated by true HR professionals. So you're always getting the most up-to-date information, which I think is a huge benefit versus using Google, right? And the end result, well, you get greater peace of mind navigating the ever-changing payroll landscape, support from HR pros that can cover everything from hiring and firing, leave of absences, expanding into multiple states, and everything in between. Now we'll go ahead and take a look at a high-level overview of each of the plans along with pricing so that you know what to expect. So QuickBooks Online Payroll comes in 3 different flavors. There's Core, Premium, and Elite Payroll. Our Core Payroll is our entry-level automated payroll. It is a self-serve setup with no validation of the work being done, meaning that you as the client will actually go in, enter your information, unless you have the assistance, of course, of partners such as Out of the Box or whatnot to help you with the actual setup. If you do end up doing your own actual setup, we won't validate any of that work, but we will file and pay based on the information provided to us. Premium, our mid-tier, is our most popular plan. It's still a self-serve setup, but it does include expert setup review to validate the work that's been done, where after you've gone through the actual setup of payroll, whether you do that yourself or of course have an expert such as Out of the Box actually assist with something like this, we're then going to actually dot your I's and cross your T's for accuracy, go through and make sure, make sure the checks and of course everything is in play. Employee profiles are completed, bank accounts are fully connected, SUI rates are actually in place, deposit schedules for federal and state payroll tax payments, right? Those are all the things that we're going to review to ensure accuracy. And if we do see anything out of sync or out of whack, we're going to bring that to your attention prior to it becoming a larger problem. And then of course, Premium does include that HR support center along with Premium QuickBooks Time. Okay, so that time management component begins to be a thing starting at Premium. And then lastly, our Elite Payroll, which is our kind of top offering, is our complete full service payroll solution. It includes expert setup with a one-on-one working relationship. So this is basically where you have the ability to work with either us directly, Intuit, where we can go ahead and help on the actual setup, make sure everything's kind of in place. We'll actually also provide a tax penalty protection guarantee for complete peace of mind, meaning that if there are any tax notices that come about after the setup and everything else, and assuming you're on our Elite and on that active with that tax penalty protection guarantee, there's no finger pointing. If a tax notice does come up, you're simply going to send that notice over to us. We're going to work with the proper agencies on resolution. And if there is any resulting penalties and interest, we will reimburse you up to $25,000 a year in penalties and interest, regardless of who's at fault. And that's specifically with our Elite Payroll offering. Nobody else in the industry has this as of now, okay? In addition to that tax penalty protection guarantee, Elite now includes the service component of HR, right? Unlike Premium that has the support center, Elite is actually going to give you not only the support center with forms, templates, et cetera, from an HR standpoint, but access to live HR advisors, where you have the ability to connect with HR pros, right? I maybe have a complex situation on my hands. I want to reach out to an actual certified advisor that can kind of help me through some things, right? Or potentially in the environment that we find ourselves in nowadays, right, in this kind of remote environment, you may actually have where you're going into multiple states and you've got some questions that could come up in regards to compliance and you want to reach out to an actual expert. That's where you can, of course, leverage our expertise. And lastly, Elite also includes Elite QuickBooks Time, which is going to give you a little bit more functionality in the time management side of things. And lastly, optional add-ons are all available with all three of our SKUs. So those optional add-ons, which I'll go over in just a moment, include 401k, health benefits, and workers' compensation. The beauty of our offerings is that we can scale with you as a business, right? Meaning that, hey, I may not be ready for 401k or health benefits at this time. I may just be starting my business, but it's good to know that these things are available to me. So when I get to that point and I'm ready for prime time, I know basically where to go and how I can actually access that information to see kind of what is offered. And really just going into pricing, our pricing is very transparent. We offer transparent and competitive pricing. Our payroll is priced per month versus per payroll, regardless of pay runs. It's one of the biggest things when I'm talking to actual business owners and they may be using a competitor of some sort and looking to potentially change, is making sure that they're aware that, hey, our payroll, it doesn't matter how many times a month you run payroll, your cost is going to actually be the same, okay? Because we don't charge per pay run, we charge per month. Our time management and our HR that I've kind of gone over is already included in the price for Premium and Elite. We do not charge extra at quarter end or year end for W-2s. And of course, there's a really nice discount through out-of-the-box technologies for the first year on both the base price of payroll and the per employee fees. And that's something that you as an actual business owner can only get through partners such as out-of-the-box technologies. So let's discuss what other features are available to attach to payroll, such as health insurance and 401k. So want to start with retirement plans. Just a quick fact, almost half of Americans aren't saving enough for retirement. That's a pretty alarming fact, actually. Employee benefits, they're a must these days if you want to remain competitive as a small to medium-sized business owner, right? Some states, as a lot of you are probably aware, have created state-mandated retirement plans. There's 13 states and counting right now, and each of them, of course, have different kind of qualifications and contingencies and whatnot, but it's growing and it will only continue to grow. We, Intuit, we're getting ahead of the game by offering retirement plans through our partner guideline with complete integration to our payroll solutions. So as a small business owner, if you decide, hey, maybe you're using QuickBooks Online, I want to look at this payroll, I go through out of the box and whatnot, and then I want to potentially look at offering 401k, you will see as you go through the payroll setup where we will prompt you for 401k and see if it's something that you already have in play. Because again, we want to get ahead of the game, right? We want to make sure that you're well aware that, hey, if you're in one of those states that has some sort of state mandated retirement plan, make sure that you know that you can either offer a 401k through our partner guideline, or of course, directly through the state, you can obtain one of those state mandated retirement plans, right? So option, of course, is on the small business owner. Now let's discuss health benefits. Another interesting fact, 51% of employees say benefits will play a significant role in talent retention, okay? We've partnered up with Simply Insured that works with a lot of the major players in the industry today to offer health benefits that matter. Employers have the ability and can review the different plans providers to find the plan that works best for them right from within QBO. You don't even have to go out of your QuickBooks Online, right? I can go through and I can go ahead and take a look within my geographical area. It's going to populate providers that are available to me, and I can look at all the different plans that are there and check and see what works best for me as an employer. In some cases, clients can keep their existing provider. So maybe they are using a competitor right now for payroll, but they're looking at moving over to Intuit, right? And they already have a health benefit provider. Well, in some cases, they may just have to actually change the broker of record and continue with the same provider, just change the broker of record and then automate basically the premium payments and everything else, right? So it's all fully automated. We'll also take care of the health deductions automatically and payment of such. And that's basically the benefit of a completely integrated solution. Workers' comp, good old workers' comp, as we all know, is a must if you have employees, unless you are in the great state of Texas. Through our partner, Next Insurance, we actually offer a pay-as-you-go plan versus your traditional workers' comp to help protect cash flow. Workers' comp insurance automatically pays your workers' comp premiums every pay period based on your actual payroll data. There's no need for true-ups on an annual basis. For some of you on this call that actually may already have workers' comp, if you have to true up at certain intervals of time, well, you know, you're on a traditional workers' comp. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But nowadays, there are different alternate options out there to really help preserve cash flow. And just like health insurance, in some cases here with workers' comp, clients can keep your existing provider, but simply change the broker of record or set up a new workers' comp policy plan altogether, if it makes more sense. And here, we will make sure that this deck is shared out. I wanted to basically include some resources. We get, you know, I've been doing this for, gosh, I've been with Intuit for 15 years, as mentioned. I think I've been swinging payroll for the past 7 or 8 years. And there's always things that come up every year, right, in terms of what clients are looking for. Hey, where are my W-2s? It's year end. What should I actually kind of stay on top of or make sure that I actually kind of, you know, check off a list, if you will? What forms and taxes does Intuit pay on my behalf? Training setup videos. So those are all kind of included here with hyperlinks. Also our partners that I've kind of gone over today through this webinar in terms of our partners, you've got access to directly to their website where you can, if you want, you know, more information around that. We've also actually created a resource website called workforcesolutionsonline.com where you can find a ton of information and resources, whether it be videos, tutorials, and basically just updates around the ever-changing payroll landscape altogether. And with that, I want to kind of go ahead and go into a quick demo just to really show you guys the power of QuickBooks Online Payroll and, of course, everything being an integrated solution. So let me go ahead and do that. And actually, before we get into that, Jeanette, are there any specific questions out there that I need to answer at this time?
Looks like we're all good. You can move forward.
Awesome, great. And Jeanette, can you still see my screen?
Yes, all good.
Okay, thank you. Great, so here we're in QuickBooks Online right now. What I really want to do is just kind of show you from the moment of time tracking so you guys can kind of see the power of it into, of course, payroll and kind of looking at running payroll per se. So right now we're in QuickBooks Online. I go into time and I want to kind of go into so you can see time entries here. And of course, as a small business, small to medium-sized business, right, I'm going to have employees and they're clocking in, they're clocking out. I, as let's say the payroll administrator, can go in. The first thing I want to do is check out the time entries, right? So I can kind of see here for the week between the 9th and the 15th, I have my time entries here. I've got my different team members. There's obviously some holiday pay and whatnot, right? I get alerts of, hey, Kevin Hart actually has 9 hours. He's exceeded his 8-hour workday, right? So just kind of flagging it for me as the payroll admin to kind of look at. But this is really the first place that I would actually be looking at all these time entries. I also have the ability to approve time right from here, but I want to kind of show you something else in that regards. I can see what individuals are actually tracking time. I also have access to that schedule. I had talked earlier in regards to scheduling. that can be done through the time management solution. So this is a really good benefit, right? If I'm that type of business where I want to be able to schedule my employees or have some sort of a schedule right visible, I can basically do that. I can kind of see here what type of work's being done. So just to kind of give you an idea here, what I have the ability to do is, let me go into edit here. I can go ahead and put a title to the actual schedule, what type of work is going to be done, start date, I've got start and end times, what team member I want to put on here. And here's the power of going a little bit deeper, where I can also associate a customer to that and make things billable if I need to, right? Again, if I'm in construction or some type of business where I do some sort of project costing, right? And then the location here will allow me to geofence, right? So I can pinpoint that location. And then I can also add the service item, right? Exactly what that employee is going to basically be doing. So this gives me that complete visibility in terms of the schedule. I also then have the ability to look at time off, right? The power of not only being a time management solution, but the ability to also be able to request time off, right? As an employee, where I can go in and quickly, first and foremost, make sure I have the time off to request, and then request the time off specifically. And a payroll administrator will then go ahead and approve or deny my time, right? So I'm that payroll admin, and I can quickly kind of see here all team members, and I've got the different statuses, but I just want to see, you know, hey, time that's been approved off, right? I've got when it was submitted, the status, coding it right here, just keeping it simple, all is holiday, obviously, on here. I also have a ton of time reports, right? Payroll, itemized total time that I can kind of go into there. But let's say, and again, I'm in QuickBooks Online where all the accounting is being done, right? I've got my time management. Let's say I've actually already approved time, or I'm just going to go into payroll and I want to go in and run payroll, right? I've got my employees here. Noticed, of course, I stayed within QuickBooks Online. And if I go into run payroll, just to give you guys an idea, make sure I've got the right dates. So what I can do here at this point, I really haven't approved the time, but I really wanted to show you guys what that actually looked like. So while I'm here, before I run payroll, I can actually go ahead and approve time if I need to. And then it actually shows me the different times of the individuals. So we can see the statuses needs review. I can quickly go in here and just say, hey, I'm going to approve the time. I've already looked it all over. Everything looks good. And then once I approve that time, right then and there, it has now been approved. Now I can easily unapprove it if needed. Maybe there was an adjustment or something that needed to be made, right? I can very quickly do that. But now that I've actually done that, well, guess what? Oh, my hours magically populate here, right? I no longer have to manually enter that time in because it's already been approved. And I can see what's going into overtime, holiday pay. Now I kept this one simple, but if I had some other type of pay, right, demo work, drywall, right, where they maybe get a different billing rate, those hours would fall right in here, right? And they basically obviously be at the specific billing rates. And then at this point, I've got my employees, obviously John's salaried, everybody else is regular pay. Now you notice that I actually did have hours here for John. Now he's salaried, but I also want to keep track of job profitability, right? I want to know exactly how much time is going into specific jobs, even though he's salaried, whether it be for billable purposes or whatnot, right? But once I'm basically done with this, I then have the ability to preview payroll. I can basically go ahead and take a look at everything here and see, okay, let's look at the hours. Here's my gross pay, all the employee deductions, the net pay, employer taxes. I can compare this with last payday if I wanted to, have a memo. And if I want to get even more nitty gritty, I can go into preview details and actually break down all the different things here, right? 401k, Social Security, how much in federal income tax. So I can get really nitty gritty in that regards. But once I'm basically ready, everything looks good. Now note, of course, the pay date here is 10/20, right? This is just for illustrative purposes, but I can then go ahead and for this pay period, I always want to look and make sure I've got the right dates and stuff in here, right? And the right pay date. But then I would just go ahead and submit my payroll. Now note, of course, that these were paper checks because this is a demo account, but at the end of the day, you could obviously do direct deposit, which would have fast money movement, or if I did do paper checks, at this point then I'd be able to go ahead and print the checks, allocate check numbers, etc. I can also download my payroll reports, okay? And this is basically also telling me auto payroll. I talked about this earlier briefly, but auto payroll, of course, gives me the ability is if I have salaried employees or employees with default hours, I can actually just go ahead and set payroll and forget it, right? Maybe I'm an S or a C Corp where I'm an owner officer run business. And all I really want to go ahead and do is I don't want to have to go in there every other week or once a month or whatnot and run my own payroll. Or maybe I have a staff of 2 and they're all on fixed salary as well. I don't want to have to run their payroll. Can I just go ahead and set it up and forget it? You certainly can, right? And once you basically do that, our system will obviously always remind you, hey, payroll's about to be run, send you an email or whatnot. And that way, that's your cue of, hey, money's in the bank. But then it'll just kind of work like, run like clockwork, right? Couple other things that I wanted to actually show you. So we're in the payroll section right now. I'm in the overview. This is where I would kind of go through and set everything up on my end. I've got the ability to run payroll, some shortcuts here, approve time. I can edit my payroll items, right? But we talked a little bit about the beyond payroll and whatnot. This is actually where you would access that information. So let's say I am that business that's looking to scale and maybe I'm at a point where I want to start looking into 401k or health benefits. I can go right from within the product itself. Again, I'm in payroll, right? I go to the benefits tab and I can very easily here, go ahead and go through health insurance, find my plan. Or as mentioned, if I already have an existing plan, I can potentially look at connecting that existing plan, right? And just changing the broker of record. Here I have the same thing for 401k, right? And I can do this all within the product itself. I don't actually have to speak to anybody unless I really need to, right? If you're the type of person that, hey, I do want to speak to somebody, licensed or whatnot first, just to kind of make sure that, we're doing things right and everything else, you totally have that ability to do so. But hey, you can also just go in and do your own thing, right? And get things squared away. But this is specifically for the beyond payroll, right? Your health benefits, your 401k. We also talked about the HR included with premium and elite payroll, right? And this is basically just showing you a preview of what that HR is really capable of. But if I go into this HR section, this is where I have access to that HR resource center, right? I've got forms and templates around hiring and onboarding, setting policies, right? We talked about that employee handbook, right? Being able to create that within 30 minutes, you can have a professional looking handbook, right? Employee handbook. And then lastly, the last thing that I wanted to go ahead and show you all is, hey, if Intuit is filing and paying my payroll taxes, how do I have the visibility and making sure that things are being done in a timely manner? Right? Because that's the next thing that you're going to want to do. And not only that, but you're also going to want to retrieve your filings and stuff for audit purposes or, workers' comp or whatever else. Well, I can go into this payroll tax here. And this is just for illustrative purposes, everybody, right? A lot of past dues here. But again, this is just a demo account. But from here, payroll tax, I have access to my payroll tax center where I have visibility into payments and filings that are being done. Okay, I'm in the great state of Arizona, of course, and you can see Arizona income taxes, right? I can go ahead and take a look at, okay, great, here's my breakdown. This was in essence for Q1. I've got federal taxes, right, when they were actually due. And this gives me a little bit more of a breakdown into kind of what that total amount is for, right? So I've got complete visibility there. So this, as a business owner, will empower you to, at the very least, know, hey, I want to know what's being done, what activity, and as long as making sure that Intuit is paying my stuff and filing my my quarterlies and stuff. This is where I would actually go to see that and get complete visibility. I don't have any filings obviously here, right? But if they were, they'd be right here for me. And generally, what we do, we're bulk filers. So, for example, we'll wait until the very end to file. And then when I say at the very end, let's say, for Q3, we would file at towards the end of October, and then we would make filings visible to you within about a week of that filing date, okay? And they would populate all within here, so you'd have access to your 941s, anything at the state level, and you can, archive those forms for future reference or whatnot too, okay? The other thing while we're on the same page that I wanted to kind of just go over with you is, as you can see here, automated taxes and forms are on. What does that mean? That means that Intuit, all 3 of our offerings are full service, right? Where we will pay and file your payroll tax liability. But if for whatever reason, you as a business owner want to go ahead and say, hey, I want to be in control of my own destiny, I want to file and pay on my own watch, you have the ability to do so. And you can change the setting, right? Where you can opt out of the automation and you can file and pay yourself within QuickBooks Online Payroll right within here. You don't have to go to the EFTPS or basically to the state agencies or anything else. You'd basically be able to do it through here. Price is still basically the same, but at the end of the day, it's certainly something that's available to you, okay? But with that being said, those were the main things that I wanted to kind of cover here. I'll pause here for a moment. Jeanette, any specific questions that are out there?
We did have one. The person asked if we have QuickBooks Desktop Enterprise, is QuickBooks Online Payroll available?
That's a great question. That is a very good question. And yes, it actually is. So just so you all know, the offerings that I showed you, of course, for core, premium, and elite payroll, they're embedded inside of QuickBooks Online, but you also have the ability to go ahead and purchase them as a completely standalone solution without QuickBooks Online. So if for whatever reason you as a small to medium-sized business owner can't move to online QuickBooks because of certain functionality or whatever the case may be, you can stick with Enterprise, okay? And you can simply go ahead and sign up through out of the box to go ahead and get a standalone payroll solution, whether that be core, premium, or elite. And the pricing that I had actually showcased earlier would exactly be the same with the discounts through out of the box. And there is integration. The only time I would not recommend this as a solution is if you need true job or labor costing, right? Again, let me use the easiest example, construction, right? Where I actually need detailed job and labor costing, where I want to get down to the penny on my projects, right, to job profitability. That's the only time where I would not recommend this, just because you want a completely integrated solution. But if you're basically don't need that, and it's pretty basic, then I would say 100% it's available. And again, there will be integration where you can go ahead and send payroll data into your QuickBooks, so it updates, it hits the proper accounts, your expense and your liability accounts on your COA, on your chart of accounts and whatnot. That will happen. So that automation will still basically be there, and your paychecks will come over as regular checks. But just to be very clear, with a solution such as that, what's going to happen is your payroll work center in desktop is going to be dormant. Okay, you wouldn't go into QuickBooks Desktop Payroll Work Center to locate filings and copies of checks and whatever else, or payroll checks. You'd actually go through this solution here as a complete standalone in QuickBooks Online Payroll, and be able to, generate reports and whatever else that's actually needed from a payroll standpoint. Okay, but can totally be done. Great question. Going back to the presentation, and actually that does conclude, so I'm going to go ahead and stop showing my screen, but that actually does conclude our presentation, Jeanette. Unless there's any other questions, I'm kind of headed into Q&A at this point.
All right, if anybody has any further questions, there are none in the queue at the moment, go ahead and chat those out to us. We'll give it a few minutes, see if anybody's got anything pressing on their mind.
And Jeanette, while we're actually waiting, I will make sure that I share this deck with you so that you have everything updated in this particular case and can share out on your end, Jeanette.
Perfect. I see someone had their hand raised. Sean, if you want to go ahead and chat your question to us, we can address it. Can this handle certified payroll, John, is our question.
Oh, that is a great question. That's a really good question. So with certified payroll, our QuickBooks Online, if you're using QuickBooks QBO from an accounting solution along with payroll, you do need an add-on for certified payroll, okay? There is basically a partner that we go through, Points North, I want to say, that actually does allow for certified payroll and prevailing wages and whatnot. But to be really clear, as a standalone, just QuickBooks Online in payroll, there's really no way to generate that certified payroll, and add-on is certainly a must. And if more information is needed there, I can relay that information over to you, Jeanette, if you want to relay over if needed in that regards. But Points North is the partner that we use, that there is integration where certified payroll can be done, and they've got an add-on links right up with our QuickBooks Online.
Perfect. Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Yep, really good question.
Looks like those are all the questions that have come through. John, thank you so much for your time and your expertise today. Thank you to everybody here that's attended. Thank you for coming with some good questions. If you have any additional questions that arise post-webinar, or you want to get started with a QuickBooks Online or a QuickBooks Payroll product demo, please feel free to reach out by way of the contact info that should be up on your screen right now, and we can connect you with your designated service rep and get you started with a test drive of the product. As a reminder, this recording will be shared with you later this afternoon. Please feel free to contact us should you have any questions, and we look forward to seeing you on our next webinar. What's the difference? QuickBooks Online versus QuickBooks Desktop. That's scheduled for next Tuesday, October 24th at 12 noon Eastern. Registration info for that will be included in the follow-up email as well, and is located on our website. Thanks again, John, and thanks again to our attendees, everyone, and have a great day.
Thanks, Jeanette. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.